I've always found it really hard to light bottles, especially on lighter backgrounds. So in this video, what I'm going to do is show you how to create a lighting setup on a lighter background, and it uses 4 lights plus some lights for the label, and I'll go through the complete setup. The project file will also be in the description below. Alright, let's jump in. Let's do a quick overview of the lights. So there's 2 setups to this. There's main lights and label light. The only reason I don't have the main lights on the label is because I needed the main lights brighter, and it blew out the label, and I couldn't see a lot of the detail in the label, a lot of the paper texture that we have here. So here's its setup. So main lights is just these lights here, and then we've got the label lights. And then I've also got a HDRI plugged in, world, and the HDRI, we could start here. So all it is just a HDRI that looks like this. It's just a big room. Go view, view regions, clear render region. It's just a big room. You could pick anything like this. Then I've got a hue saturation value, and the only reason I've got this is because it was throwing green from the window onto my image here. So I've just reduced the saturation to 0.1, and that'll stop it from throwing color. Then it's plugged into a background, and the background texture, the background node here, background BSDF, is what gives us our light into the surface and actually applies the environment texture to our area. So then what I've got here is just a trick that I use because I wanted a white background. I created a white background here, and then an is camera ray. And so this white background doesn't actually give us any light. I've explained this in previous videos. So what is happening is the is camera ray is telling this top one here to output the light values from this and create light on the scene, and the second one will be in the camera only. So then it will output only white to the camera, but no lighting. So it'll just be the view. And so when we plug this in here, you can see now what has happened is you can see the background is the thing creating the reflections and everything. So it's the thing that's actually spilling the light, the HDRI. But in my background, I have this big white void, which isn't displaying any light. And so I can adjust the HDRI to my pleasing here, and you'll see that doesn't affect my background, and I can adjust my background without it affecting any light. So it's a super handy trick. Let's reset this to the basic settings. Now the reason I use a HDRI for this sort of stuff is just because we want some of that realistic detail in our renders. So let's say I just flip this around, and we just want some of these realistic reflections in our renders, and this helps us have a more realistic render. So we could reduce this down by quite a bit if you wanted. 3.5. But before we do that, let me just tell you that if you want to learn how to use Blender for product rendering professionally, then you should grab our course, Master Product Visualization, which has over 3,000 plus students and will teach you everything you need to know, from packaging to modeling to lighting and doing product animations inside of Blender. You'll learn all the tricks and tips while working with real-world examples, allowing you to build your own portfolio. So by the end of the course, you'll be able to create your own professional renders that are the next level above everyone else. So go ahead and grab the course. The link is in the video description and in the pinned comment under the video. Let's jump back in. Let's go on to the main lighting. What I'm going to do is create a new collection here. We'll call this one lighting underscore shoot for tutorial. I'm just going to quickly turn on my screencasts and set it to this region here. So you can see what I am doing. I'm also using another add-on called Light Wrangler, and I'm just using the Light Wrangler add-on basically for being able to add some textures. So I'll show you in a second. So what I'm going to do now is add in a area light. We'll scale this guy down. We'll rotate him and we'll go negative so that he's facing our camera, and go back and move him up. Now, if you don't have Light Wrangler, what Light Wrangler currently is doing is coming down here and checking in our object properties, down under visibility, under ray visibility, it's checking the camera on by default. And so Light Wrangler, when I select a light, it checks it on, and you can see here, I can see what the light looks like. And if I deselect it here, which what usually happens with Light Wrangler is it selects it and deselects it. However, I think because let's retry this. I'll put a new light in. Move it back, scale it down, deselect it. There we go. So Light Wrangler is now working. When I deselect it, it turns off this camera ray visibility by default. So it's super handy just for viewing your lights here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to come down to my light settings, and I want to show you how to do this without. We come here and click use nodes. We have an emission here. And what I want to do is set up some lighting. So I want let's say a eclipse. And so we'll go Control T. We've got this image texture. I'm going to go to Affinity Designer, and I'm going to make a light texture. So here in Affinity Designer, I've got here a 4K square. I'll just create that. That's just 4096 by 4096 at 72 dpi. You could bump the color up to 16-bit if you would like, and that would just add some more detail. And so let's think of an emission shader here. An emission shader will only emit values that are white. So we're going to put in a big square here. I'll select this background and I'll just make it black. And then I'm going to draw, let's see if we can find the center point. We'll hold down, we'll just try this again so I can snap it. Here, we'll create this. We'll hold down Control to go from the center and Shift. You can use Adobe Illustrator if you'd like. Scale this up to maybe this size here. We're going to get rid of this stroke, so open this up, go to swatches, and there's a null swatch here to get rid of the stroke. Then we'll fill this one with white. And now all you're going to do is come over here to the effects, turn on Gaussian blur, select it, and then pump the Gaussian blur up really high. Now I'm not sure if we can go higher. Can we go higher? 200? Yeah, let's pump it past 450. Nah, that's not. Let's go down 250. We'll try that. So now we've got this shape here. We're going to go File. We'll export it as TIFF for JPEG. I'm going to go JPEG. Now I'm going to export it as grayscale 8-bit. I'm not worried too much about the 16-bit in this case. You could pump that up for higher quality. And I don't even think I need this kind of resolution. So if we keep these linked, I'm just going to put divide by 2 and get this down to 2000 pixels. Export, and I'll give you this in the working files. So we'll call this one, we'll put it in the 3D assets. Circle, we'll just call this circle gradient. Enter. Just jump back to Blender here. We're going to go find Little Mr. Circle Gradient. and you just drag it straight in here. That's easier. And all you're going to do is plug the mapping and the texture coordinate into it. Hit non-color. Let's keep it color maybe. And you have this shape now. Now something we can do is use an RGB curves to edit this, if you would like, or you can use a color ramp, anything of your choice here. So basically use the UVs and then you get this texture here, and then we can scale this and move this around any way we would like. Now you could play around with that texture. What I'm going to use is the Light Wrangler add-on, and I'll put a link to this in the description, and he's already got some lights down here. So he's got this light here, and I'm just going to position his light in place, and I'm going to have a look at both of these lights. I'm just going to reduce the VO down to like 4, go 3, something like that. And this is just facing behind the camera. So if I deselect this, I've just got this nice highlight, and you can just adjust the power. Place it down lower. So if you have it up here, it's going to create a real white spot in here. So all you're going to do is just place it down a bit lower, keep going down until you get this nice dark spot here. So that's looking pretty good. What I might want to do is adjust the light. You can scale the light as well. So you'd be squishing it in, as you can see there. And if you push the light this direction to the right, it starts to fill in this left. And it's really strange how light works. But yeah, it's hard to get used to when you're first starting Blender, but you'll get used to it as you go. Let's push it to the left. Just like that. I'll scale this one up. Not scale, move up. And then this light, let's put this into our main lights. This will rename. No, that's good. And this is called a liquid light or background light. I usually like to put an underscore. That's all your choice. Drag it into there. And now with that selection, I'm going to go Shift A. We'll add in a new light, an area light, and this will be our key. And so all the key light is just a big bright light. That is our main light. So you can push this one around, scale this one, push him in quite close, keep him big. And you could keep the key light like this. Obviously he's very bright. Let's go down to 6. And you could keep the key light like this. However, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to adjust my glass bump here. I want some of that bump back. So to make this more realistic, we want to add a texture to our light. And so Light Wrangler is really handy for this. You just click the HDRI. We open this up and we just grab like a big square softbox like this. And we'll wait for that to render. And it just starts to give us a little bit of texture in our light. And so you'll probably notice it most in the corners. You can see it's sort of rippling a little bit. You could grab a different one. It's got that softbox edge. Like so. That's looking quite good. I'm quite happy with that. Just duplicate this light. We will drag him over here. This light I had quite a bit smaller. And push him in nice and close. And I'm going to push him around further, so he's going to be more on an angle so that we get closer to the edge. of the label here. And I'm going to switch this to this gradient. You can make a gradient inside Affinity also. So all you would do is just, I would put a square inside this. And maybe what you can do is if I hold shift, that might be better. We'll center it. Use Photoshop, use anything that you know. We'll center it. You add your Gaussian blur once again under the filter. Bump it up. And what we can do in the fill is open this up, switch it to a gradient, take this side, take the other side, one of the sides, doesn't matter actually, and do this. And then you can adjust this based on what you want, and you've got your gradient texture. You can export that and it gives you this gradient. So I'm going to go around here. If your gradient is the wrong way, if I point at the light, see the gradient's facing this way. Let's reduce its power to like 4. I could go down further. That'll show you the gradient a bit better, like this. So if the gradient is facing the wrong way, so say it's facing this way, facing the wrong way, all you have to do is either rotation with the light wrangler, or you just rotate the light itself. So press R, Z, Z, and that will switch it to its local axis. We type in 180 to flip it around, and there you go. So let's place this light. Let's go top view. And I think I need it higher. Get more of this. Need a little bit brighter. So we'll go 4. Maybe not so much 2. Something like that. Now, one last thing is I don't want this really bright rim light. So what I'm going to do is select this light here. Object properties. You can come down to, once again, the visibility. Go to ray visibility, and we think about what this light is. So this light is, or what it's doing. So the light is creating transmission, which means it's just going through glass and creating light. So we want transmission, but we don't want gloss. So gloss is pretty much any reflections. So you just untick the ray visibility for gloss, and you'll see if I deselect this, it's taken that edge off it. And then you could actually put in a new light if you wanted a little bit of rim light. Put this back in, reduce the power, so go 0.5, and instead of filling our bottle, because this light's going to affect our liquid, so what we do instead, select this, we turn off transmission and turn on gloss. And this should, if I have the right light, and if it's bright enough, 1, we'll get it a bit bigger. Maybe I need to just, so it's on this side, I think. It's going on this side. Whatever reason it's not showing on the other side. Could be just where I have it. But that will give us our highlight. I'm going to leave it off and just let it have this nice dark edge. Alright, so the last thing I did was the label. Now you can choose whether to do the label or not. I just wanted some more texture in the label. So right now it's quite good. But usually what I do is create a new setup for labels. So let's go C, we'll type label, and label lights will work better actually. Lights. Rename this gradient. light. Rename this to my key light. Like so. And then we want just the same lights for the label. So we'll duplicate this one. We'll just call this label underscore key. And duplicate this one. And we'll just call this one a label fill. All right. So now what we got to do is we got to create in here, come in here, create a group, a light linking group. And we'll call this one label key. And now you've got to find your label. So it's under the wine bottle under label. Drag the label in. And then on the other light, you're going to select the, is it the label key? Label key. And now what I want to do is create one for our main lights. So main lights. Oops. Main lights. And what you're going to do is drag in the liquid, the cap, the label, and the wine bottle. Drag in everything and then turn off the label. And then we'll add this group to, we have to find out what group, main light 1, just because I got multiple lights in here. So main light 1, main light 1. Let's grab these, let's hide the main lights for now, and that'll show that you've only got the label lit. And what we can do now move this guy a little bit like so. Hit Control S, F12 to render. I don't think I've got any compositing on this. This is straight out of render, and I was very happy with the colors. So all I've got here is Chronos PBR neutral, and then a medium low contrast. I found that high contrast creates a yellow in my render here. So medium low for this one. And then you can just file save as TIFF or JPEG. TIFF will allow you to edit the colors a lot more, especially if you go 16-bit. TIFF, I go out as a JPEG most of the time if I'm happy with the colors from Blender. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you found it really useful. Drop in the comments below if you have any tutorial ideas that you would love to see. I want to do a lot more lighting and a lot more label renders. If you're interested in the course, also check that out. It'll help you go professional a lot quicker than jumping around a lot of YouTube videos. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.